another edition of Koffee, Klatsch. Today we are going to play Regency Solitaire, and we'll see how that goes. Now, I know everybody's a little wary of playing a game, but I think you guys can handle Solitaire. So if somebody wants to sit in the hot seat here, we'll give it a go. I don't have a lot of background information on this. A lot of where I find games... well, actually, yeah, we got a couple people coming in here. I'll ramble on to a little bit more. A lot of where I find PC games is from Rock, Paper, Shotgun, and they had a review of it that said it was fun. That it is, but it's not particularly a great game. But we'll see if we can make something out of it while we talk through it. So, with that in mind, do we all want to introduce ourselves? I am Nathan Humple. I am a metadata librarian here at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee and have an interest in digital humanities and game studies.
Stuart Moulthrop, Department of English.
Chris Brzezicki, English.
Leah Liebzeller, Anthropology.
Josh Rivers, Anthropology.
And Krista Lee Malone just left, but she'll be back. So, who wants to sit down and play Regency Solitaire?
You're sitting.
No,
You got a lot of time to make up for it, by the way.
I suppose that's true. Okay.
Welcome back.
Get us started.
All right, I'll
We
get
even
you
all
started.
played the last 2 weeks
Yes,
in
we
a
did.
row.
Okay,
Everybody played.
let's all sit here and watch somebody play solitaire.
England 1812. It's before they actually emerged from painted landscape and became an actual country.
Here's your history lesson.
All I can think about is Game of Thrones.
Oh, this is nowhere near Game of Thrones. This is Lord Henry Worthington.
Or Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Ooh. Have we all seen that movie yet?
I've taught the book.
I have not seen
And
the
did they
movie.
make a movie out
They
of that?
did.
Yes,
They
they
did.
did.
Yeah.
I never saw the movie, read the book though.
It's on
Mr.
Netflix.
Bleakley.
Real subtle.
Right. So, the gameplay here is you play solitaire and you get money and you raise your reputation so that you can marry Lord Worthington. So,
By card sharping, essentially.
well,
No.
so here's the I'm going to start playing, but I do want to I've got a little spiel here on what I do find interesting about this, and I don't
Oh, good. I was really hoping you'd find something interesting about this.
I find this setup to this to be... Oh, by the way, I don't think there's voice acting here, so we can read out. Papa, when will we hold a ball? Enough, Bella. The extravagance of holding a ball at our humble abode is well beyond our means. My sister and I will become old maids if we don't go out into society soon. If you want for a husband our neighbor, Mr. Bleakley, would make an acceptable suitor, surely. I should die of boredom if we were to marry. Husband, will you stop extolling the virtues of that man Bleakley? I declare he is the most odious gentleman in the country. Bella can do better. Margaret, dearest, calm yourself, and become acquainted with the facts, if you please. I cannot settle any fortune upon Bella, a fact that Bleakley is willing to overlook. Indeed, we should consider ourselves thankful if he makes an offer of marriage.
Should we all take characters?
I think we should. But you've convinced me that I am the one that needs to play right now, so maybe. Mama, I've received a letter. My godmother, Lady Fleetwood, has invited me to a grand ball in Bath. Finally, a dream come true. How wonderful! You will be dancing among England's most fashionable and eligible gentlemen. We must consider your wardrobe. Fetch out my old trunk. There's some finery inside from my own debutante days. Okay.
What a humble abode in that background.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
It's
They're,
very
they're
humble.
penniless, clearly.
Yeah.
Okay. Click on a tableau card, one number higher or lower than the face-up foundation card at the bottom of the screen. Note an ace can go on a king and vice versa. Okay. Alright. So I can go with a queen here. Okay, so what I find mildly interesting is the idea that you have to play solitaire to, like, you are in this situation because your brother has gambled away all the fortune, and apparently you have to play solitaire to get that standing back. And
How's that work?
well, first of all, how does that work? But at the same time, it's like, well, this young woman in the Regency era, the suppressed woman, is sort of like, she has this very idle occupation that apparently is supposed to get the reputation back. And she travels across the country nominally playing solitaire to do that. And I don't think there's a lot of thought behind it. I think this is just sort of like a plot that's grafted onto a fairly straightforward solitaire game. But that's it. And I was also thinking, I mean, I don't want to completely ignore these, like, totally casual games. We've had casual games in here before. And there certainly is a value to them. I have sunk a fair amount of time into this, even though I don't particularly enjoy it. I mean, it's sort of fun, but you get these power-ups, sort of, and it has that clicking addictive quality to it. So,
Can you reveal the Steam screen to see so we can see how much time you've spent on this?
sure, I will.
That's mean.
That's not
That's
bad.
mean.
Oh, that's Long Live the Queen.
Oh, okay.
Hold on.
Oh,
15 hours. 15 hours. I'm not ashamed of that. Okay.
I mean, I've probably put in more than that on Minesweeper.
Yeah,
It can't
exactly.
be any
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I thought I'd put this out there and see if there's any if anybody has anything to say. And this is why, like, I can sit here and idly play through this game. But if anybody else wants to try their hand, so to speak, or talk about it.
Well, there's the fact that this sort of central pillar of the story makes no damn sense at all.
But it actually does make sense if you go from a feminist angle. I mean, the game of solitaire is a singular game for one person to play alone, right? So the storyline is her brother's gambled away all of the money, and she is responsible for somehow not only making this money back, but establishing a social position for herself in a very alone sort of manner. I mean, she sort of left to her own devices to do this. So, I'm just reading far too into it to a certain extent as well, but the game of solitaire could, to a certain extent, stand for how she, as a woman in this society, is very much sort of alienated, oppressed, and put off on her own. So I don't think that you can completely overlook why they pick solitaire if you wanted to find a deeper meaning for it.
Yeah, and that's kind of what's interesting. I mean, there's obviously a relation between.
I'm just taking an axe to the diegesis here and saying, excuse me, where does the money come from? I mean, who pays you to play solitaire?
Well, yeah,
Ever?
no.
When?
No, obviously nobody. It wouldn't make sense for anybody to pay you to play solitaire. Although, I'm sure there's some sort of gambling setup for solitaire. There is for any card game. But in fact, in the storyline, the fact that she's playing solitaire is never mentioned, as far as I can tell. It's not like it's like, oh, you're going to need to play more solitaire if we're going to have our family. But so there's that aspect to it, like you were saying, that it's just sort of like, this is like the power that she has, is this solitary game. And at the very least, it's like, well, women in the Regency era, one of the things that they might do is play solitaire, right? There's, like, the power that she has is much more, this is not an action game. It's not like she can go out and rampage across the...
No, but it's a good point. Her ability to manipulate her situation is relegated to a specific sphere of life. And in many ways, especially within the Regency era of England, that sphere of life was casual pastimes,
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a lot that she could do for her situation, except that what she's told to do by other people. To a certain extent is why I can see Solitaire being more than just, this is a game we wanted to play and make it look pretty. I mean, there is something to be said for sort of the role of this game within the broader meta of the narrative. I agree that there's no realistic way to play this off as, oh, she makes money playing solitaire. Obviously, that's a little bit on the weak side, but there is something to be said for maybe why they picked solitaire in the first place and why they put it within the storyline. I mean, I don't know the company that developed this in any way, shape, or form, so I can't speak too deeply to that. But
yeah,
I think there's more to it than just it's a game of solitaire.
Obviously, we have character identification with all of the cards and the numbered deck as well as the base cards. So, we're reinforcing narrative possibilities that presumably unfold in cutscenes or whatever this has, right?
Yeah, that's something else I was sort of thinking about. I mean, the card set that you have here is, you've got the Queen and the King, in the Queen and the King position, and then you have Bella here in the Ace position, and her sister, I think, is in 2, and then it kind of goes up in terms of her family.
Daddy appears to be 5.
Yes, so, and Mother is 4. Jeez, come on.
So I hope this doesn't derail the conversation, but my first thought was, Stuart, you had given a talk about Pong being placed into book or narrative. I'm trying to remember. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Ian Bogost says, God, the worst thing any academic could ever do would be to try to interlace a scholarly paper through Pong, which I did.
Well, and
just to spite him.
But I think there's some value to that. I mean, this is, you can analyze anything.
It's kind of a, to take a Regency analogy, it's kind of like an interesting case of dog breeding, you've brought together 2 species that, or 2 breeds, really shouldn't have, no, look at that puppy, drown it. That's what they did.
I know, but...
So, it really does feel like a very strange puppy, this thing. I can see.
We talk a lot, or we've talked about a couple times in here, sort of the, I guess, difficulty when you have a game. Oh, I started a combo.
What's a combo?
I think you... Oh, you have a
that's
little multiplier up there. The difficulty when you start, or when you're playing a game in here... I found her trunk. It was under all those cards. When you're playing a game here that is obviously designed for single player, and you're playing it in front of an audience, and what I would do when I was playing this for 15 hours was when I was listening to some music at night before I went to bed, because I was looking for games where I could just idly listen to music while doing something, and this worked very well for that. But it doesn't work as well when I'm trying to talk. Well, it's not that hard of a game, but it's
sure,
I'm distracted because I'm trying to justify my choice here.
It's edgy. I think it's interesting because it because it's an odd puppy.
Well, and maybe another avenue is like, yeah, sure, this is an odd puppy, but it's not the only odd puppy. There's a lot of these casual games that like are like a chimera of like, where did you get this crazy story with this this gameplay, which is only vaguely connected, and that's not even just now. That's always been a case of like, if you look at like licensed games where trying to think of, there's that 7-Up Spot game that was like Go. Like it was very similar to the game Go, but it just had the 7-Up Spot in it. So this is like this licensed game. It was it was fun, but it was like, what does that have to really do with the 7-Up Spot?
Well, or every rebranding of Monopoly, or I mean, that tradition of celebrity branded games goes back to the beginning of celebrity. Well, in fact, the deck of cards as it emerges from whenever, the 17th century or the 16th century, those royal faces originally pointed to someone and then were variously repurposed as, caricatures of.
Now that's interesting. That's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so this tradition of faces on cards is obviously it's a tradition. It's a thing.
There's also a tradition of solitaire and being used in operating systems as a way to get used to them.
Yes.
Which one was it? Microsoft 98?
Yeah, the first time they introduced a mouse on the Windows side, and had to get Windows users over the terror of the mouse. I thought it was Minesweeper, but Solitaire also, yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because my 3-year-old is very interested in the computers at the library, but her interactions with computers are mostly done through a touch screen if she's using our tablet. And so I'm trying to explain to her like how you would use the mouse on the screen, and I'm like, this is the most unintuitive device I've seen.
Yeah.
Because compared to like a touch screen where it's like you just point at the thing, like the mouse is really difficult to grasp, especially for a 3-year-old. Okay, who wants to take Charlotte?
Dear sister, I'm so delighted for you. When a young lady attends a ball, it's always the start of an adventure.
Thank you, Charlotte. If only that were true. Our brother Edward, who I cannot help but love, despite his being a complete greenhorn and losing all our money. Hey, that's interesting.
Greenhorn?
Greenhorn? Like...
Did he lose it playing solitaire?
yeah, like...
Did he lose it on the western frontier? Because that's where that word comes from. That's not a Brit word at all.
Leaves me little option but to resign myself to a future with Bleakley.
But you must hold fast to your dreams, Bella. You have been practicing your dance steps for so long.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
If Lady Fortune truly smiles upon us, you could even hold a ball here someday. Bleakley need not be invited.
Now that would give me great joy. We can but dream.
And play solitaire.
Come, help me get my things in order for the journey. Bella's Ballroom. Welcome to Bella's Makeover Project. Turn this antiquated room into a ravishing Regency ballroom and shop for the latest fashion and accessories. So these, like...
Okay, maybe it's time for us to talk about the gendering of this game.
Okay, go ahead.
Been already, but...
Well, we did. We have talked about the gendering of this game.
Yes, we have.
Bella will look...
But now we have the paper doll, right?
Yeah, right.
And...
You could buy it like the design.
Yeah.
No,
the
I
injunction
see.
to furnish.
Display how many cards are in the stockpile. Okay, what do you guys want? What should I buy here? Gives you 2 undos per hand.
Why are the gloves more expensive than the dress?
Oh, wait. Now I'm getting it.
Oh, these are free. Well, thank you very much.
You found it in your mom's trunk.
That's
remember?
right.
Right.
Allows you to collect wild cards.
You can buy it for free.
It's perfect for flirting.
Apparently, your mother doesn't flirt anymore.
Do you want the gloves? Or
Or she doesn't need the fan to flirt.
If you show up at the ball like that, you won't need the fan to flirt.
I don't think I'll make it very far. Well, what should we do? Should we do the dress?
Well, if we try to buy the gloves and the dress, do we then play a game of solitaire to get more money, or how?
We are accumulating money as we play solitaire. So I can buy one of these, but I can't buy both, and then the next time around I will be able to buy the other one probably. Let's go with the dress. I feel
Thanks.
a
I'm
little
getting
naked.
uncomfortable.
Okay.
Oh, better.
So much better. Okay. I have nothing to wear to the ball. Okay. Okay, we're going to the grand ballroom. Look at my beautiful... Hey, somebody else has to take Lady Fleetwood.
Look at my beautiful goddaughter Bella. It's her first ball here in Bath.
Very good.
I'm so proud of her.
Gossips. Bath is truly the place to visit this season. All the fashionables are here, even Lord Henry Worthington. He is so handsome and generous and owns vast estates. Yet none of the young heiresses dangling after him has won his heart.
Mr. Bleakley, I had not expected to see you here.
Oh God, somebody has to take Bleakley.
Bella dear, I must be at your side wherever possible. Come, dance with me. I insist upon it.
Then it would not be noble of me to refuse your offer, sir.
But of course, I'm sure you will have many willing partners at this, your first ball. But when they learn your face is your only fortune, the Earls and Marquises will look elsewhere.
Damn!
So wait, so I
wait, they
am
had
seeing
Megan
a
back then.
parallel between this and the is it Pride and Prejudice, where the first time she meets the guy,
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yep.
Right? But then he makes a boar of himself. Okay.
I will still be here waiting, however.
Quite so, Mr. Bleakley. Is that meant to comfort me?
Do not keep me waiting too long, Bella. I am not a patient man.
You're so charming. Okay.
See why he's the, 3 card now? 4? 2?
Yeah, what is he?
Yeah, do their numbers, they don't change, do they?
No.
No, of course not.
Alright, it's supposed to achieve a combo of 6. Alright. Are you sure you guys don't want to play?
I will play if you want me to.
Okay, go ahead, yeah.
I can't handle this game mechanic.
It's a very difficult mechanic.
Yeah.
That's true.
But I can't see how this game, I mean, considered just on its own terms. So it rather cleverly folds.
So do you know what you're doing?
Yeah, I do. I'm just trying to figure out what makes the most sense.
It creates an internal economy, which makes you wonder about the way all games do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it monetizes your play in a way.
Yeah, well, and...
Because in effect, you're being paid for clicks, right? I mean, every card that you engage in a transaction involves a mouse click, right? So...
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, how you actually...
oh,
Oh, it's a shame.
And then the other thing, of course, is that you've got these power-ups that you do. Now we can see how many cards are left in the pile. Not much of a power-up, but hey,
Yeah.
it's something.
It's a kind of fully designed implementation of Solitaire. Yeah. Which you'd expect it to be.
And then as things go, you get, even more powerful things that I'm trying to remember what they are.
Ooh, a wild card.
Yeah, how does this work? Oh.
So, can I place it now?
Yeah.
Sure, okay.
Oh.
Oh,
no,
I see. Well, I'm gonna undo that.
So is the Wait, wild card
So it's a 6.
6, but the suit is what's wild.
No.
So it's not a wild card at all.
Yeah, it
it's
doesn't
just a
really seem to
6.
help much as a.
Wait, did it become was it assigned 6 when you played it?
It was-
I
You
didn't
got
watch
it and it
carefully.
was 6.
Oh, it was 6 when it came in.
So, like, if you had a 5 or a 4 up there, you could put the... But
Wait,
you
no,
didn't...
no. So that's
No.
for... Wait, hold on. So that is
Can you place on the
specifically
screen? No.
for
That's not helpful.
combos, right?
It does appear so, yes.
So that would be the number 6 in a combo. So, like, no matter what your 5th one was, you can play that 6?
No, it's not like that. So let's say let's say he had a 4 and a 5 up there,
Yeah.
but he has a 10 down there. He couldn't play the 4 or the 5 up there, but if he put the 6 wild card down, then he could play
Oh, I
the
see,
4 or the
okay.
5.
We didn't find a Cupid statuette.
Oh, that's the chapter goal, not the
Oh,
round
I see.
goal.
Now you can set it as a desktop wallpaper.
Do it. And I'll be like, what?
What is that key? No. Nonsense. Does this unlock
Okay,
that?
yeah, so that's right. So you have to...
Which one
The
goes...
key, like, if you click on that... Oh, so you picked it up and it revealed 2, and then you can click on that, I guess?
What was the purpose of this?
So thinking about, this marvelous concept of remediation, right? How does bringing a card game into the video game medium, transform it, blah blah blah? It lets us build a narrative structure, edifice, something on top of the mechanics of a card game.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean,
And it in effect creates an economy of attention, right? So, your clicks are monetized in terms of story goals. So,
yeah. And then I think, I mean, the economy that happens here is doling out the narrative, too, I mean, on some level, this is a pretty straightforward Regency romance. It's not particularly compelling, but if you're playing through it, it's gated. And so you have to finish the round to figure out what is going to happen next. Now, I wouldn't argue, again, that this is the most compelling of a narrative, but it doesn't need to be. Because on some level, you just want to keep going, so you're like, well, how does she end up with Worthington, or whatever?
Yeah, it's sort of, it's no sillier than trolls and orcs when you think about it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And how else would you incorporate this narrative into a game? I mean, you could do an adventure game, right? But that has the same sort of gated narrative concept as this. It's just a little less obvious in terms of its arbitrariness, I think.
Yeah.
Interesting, like almost like a dating simulator would make an interesting comparison.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, same kind of mechanic. Your choices do affect the outcome.
Have we ever done a dating simulator on the show?
Nope.
I think we need to get one.
There's some
Yeah.
really good ones.
Probably need to do one.
What's
Especially
that?
because I keep hearing about them, and I've never played one. And
Well,
I've had students give presentations, but
so there's the goofy ones. There's a Hatful Boyfriend, which is you dating pigeons, I believe.
ooh,
And then there's a new one that everybody's like, oh, this is so good. What is it? It's like daddy dating or something?
Oh
yeah.
yeah, Daddy Simulator or something like that.
Yeah.
wait,
Yeah.
explain that.
It's I believe it's a queer dating simulator,
is,
if I'm not
yeah.
mistaken.
Oh,
It's like you like to date daddy types, and
Okay.
it's all about the different dad types that exist within the queer world. It is actually very praised within
Yeah.
like queer society in general.
Yeah.
Both for its like accurate depiction of some stereotypical behavior, I guess,
Uh-huh.
but also the way that it's sort of poking fun at the stereotypes we make about ourselves.
Yeah, I've heard it's interesting. It came out recently, so at some point we should. Although I will say the other game that I picked today, which maybe we can switch over at 2:30 if we're
It's 2:30.
is Long Live the Queen.
Is it Dream Daddy?
Dream Daddy, that's it. Yeah.
Yes.
We'll switch over at the end of this round. So, I mean, come on. We gotta at least see the end of this chapter.
You can give the 3 back to the 4 and then the 5, 6.
Thanks.
See, you could have just sat here and you would have been just like boom, boom, boom.
So I play a lot of silly casual games when I get writer's block. It's like a meditative thing, right? And I'm not actually thinking about it consciously, and then it works out and I go back to work.
I did that like at the end of every semester. I found myself getting
I don't
drawn
think you
into
can
like
use it.
short games like Deus Ex, like the new one, and I would just plow through it, and it worked. I think it was because of the constant guilt. I shouldn't be doing this.
But I could use this to do the 5
But it
and
was
the
a
6,
tradition.
right?
Yeah, and you.
We found the Cupid statuette. I do see how this game is compelling, though. It's kind of mindless clicking, but there's also enough to it that you do want to keep playing beyond just a normal solitaire game.
Mindless clicking. The contrast then is probably with Cow Clicker. Right? Does everybody know Cow Clicker?
I do not.
It's Ian Bogost's parody is not exactly what it was. It was a vicious parody of Farmville. After the Farmville creators came out and gave a talk, one slide of which said "fuck the player." You know, this game is not fun. It's about revenue. We're just trying to addict people so that they'll keep feeding us money. So Bogost builds this game called Cow Clicker, where all you do is click on a cow and it goes moo.
Do you want to switch?
Then you have to wait 6 minutes before you can click on your cow again, unless you sign someone else up for the game. Then you can click your cow right away.
Oh my god.
Or if you send money.
So I'm playing. Wait, I guess it's not a game, but I have an app that does something sort of like that called Yarn, where you can, it'll stop the story, and then you can either watch an ad, or you can pay money, or you can get someone to sign up, or you have to wait 30 minutes before you can finish the story.
Right. So, what's the story?
Well, there's several. So it's set up like, so it's kind of like stealing someone's phone and reading it. It's all done like text messages, and then you go through this story of what's happening.
Apologies, but this is important.
Speaking of a phone. Okay, alright, so this is Long Live the Queen. So let's start.
What an interesting music choice, just in the main menu. That's not.
So I haven't heard from Andy. Have you heard from
It's it's an American.
Yeah. We're gonna have to read this one too. So who?
Okay. We're almost home. Your room is just the way you left it.
All right, you have chosen the main character with that.
I know it's hard to leave your school and all your friends, but I've arranged the best possible tutors for every subject. You'll have to work hard this year to prepare yourself before your 15th birthday, but I know you can do it. You'll learn quickly and you'll make a wonderful queen. It's what your mother would have wanted.
This is not what Mother would have wanted.
Wait, he's the King Dowager?
He's the crown princess.
Yep.
She wouldn't have wanted to die and leave me.
I hope you can keep that up. I really do.
I watch a lot of Bob's
she
Burgers.
wouldn't. But sometimes bad things happen. We have to pick up and carry on. All of Nova depends on us. On you.
Guttural sigh.
Thank you.
I will be here to guide you until your coronation, but the decisions you make are ultimately up to you. Come, your mates are waiting.
Welcome to Long Live the Queen. If this is your first time playing, you should read this brief introduction to how the game works. You will be controlling Elodie, the almost Queen of Nova, as she tries to prepare for her coronation. To do that, she needs to take classes every week in order to raise her skills. The skills she learns will provide different choices in the ongoing plot. Learning the right skills can mean the difference between life and death. You also need to keep an eye on Elodie's mood. With her mother's tragic death, Elodie is not very happy right now. The mood button will take you to the emotions screen for more details. Elodie is feeling both afraid and depressed, but her strongest emotion is depressed. If she becomes more cheerful to cancel out the depression, her strongest emotion would then be afraid. Elodie's current mood affects her ability to learn. It will give her a bonus to some skills and a penalty to others. Let's take a look at the skills screen now.
So, if this moves, is this suggesting that if you get less afraid, you become more angry? Is that
Yes.
what I'm looking at here?
Yeah,
Yes.
you want to balance it out so the neutral is angry, but which is not to say that anger couldn't be useful in certain situations.
I just find that dichotomy.
Angry and afraid.
Yeah.
Is this a Japanese game originally?
No, it is. I believe it's American. I forgot the developer's name, and she did something.
Yeah, that's another odd
Pressure
one.
to Lonely.
Like the two in the middle seem to make sense to me, and the two on the outside seem like.
Sorry, Nate. I didn't mean to like.
No, that's fine.
interrupt you.
But she made another game recently that I will say one of the frustrating but sort of fun things about this game is there's really like one path through it, and I have no idea what it is. So you die or
Oh,
like
good.
get dethroned a lot.
Excellent.
And it's really and so that makes it a sort of frustrating experience to try and figure out, like, because it's not intuitive. Obviously, it's very difficult to try and figure out exactly what you need to do, and you can see there's tons of different possibilities.
Hanako Games.
Maybe it
the
is
developer.
Japanese.
Hanako is just, really generic Japanese name, so it might be Americans.
Right. Skills are broken into four main categories: social, physical, intellectual, and mystical. Inside these categories are skill sets, groups of 3 related skills. You start with 0 in all skills. Every week, Elodie can study 2 skills. Normally, she earns 2 points in a skill for every weekday that she studies, so if she studies history, she will earn 2 points times 5 days equals 10 points. Because Elodie is depressed, she has a -2 penalty to the social skill set conversation. She doesn't feel like talking to people right now. If she studies conversation, she will earn -2 points per day. That is 0 points. This is
Ay,
so
God.
fucking complicated. But
Maybe you want to close Chris's window there. Yep, there we go. Chris doesn't want to talk right now.
But I find it oddly compelling because it's like, I don't know how else you could like simulate a sort of like young girl trying to learn skills and go through things besides this like incredibly complex matrix. However, she has +1 bonus to the expression skill set. If she studies one of the expression skills, she will earn 2 + 1 points per day, which means 3 points a day, 15 points for the week. Also, I want to say that as I was playing this, I was trying to devise some way for me to like check off what I was doing and the effect it had, which is very difficult because the effects kind of come long range.
Oh, good God.
Georgina Bensley, who is behind Hanako, is it Hanako?
Uh-huh.
Hanako Games, had a ColecoVision, but was influenced, I guess, by a lot of the old Sierra games
Oh, well, that makes
I would
sense.
have guessed.
Yeah.
Yep.
and the excellent Fallout RPG series.
Fallout.
Fallout
yeah.
meets
The excellent one.
Day of the
not
Tentacle.
But maybe the early ones, like
Right.
yeah. Also a fan of anime. All right.
Well, that's,
Obviously.
Yeah,
No
that
kidding.
was-
that's probably the most obvious statement of the bunch
And
there.
kind of into psychographics, I would say.
Okay, if you study a skill you have bonuses for, you will learn much faster than normal. All these bonuses and penalties will change when Elodie's mood changes. She can also gain bonuses to skills by studying related skills. Check the skills screen every week to see your current bonuses. Once you know your mood, skills, bonuses, and penalties, you are ready to choose your classes for the week. Classes screen breaks down skill sets by category for your morning and evening classes. When you select a skill set, the 3 options in that set will appear on the right side of the screen. Choose a class option for both morning and evening classes, then click the Done button, which will appear in the lower right corner. As you play through the story, you will sometimes see feedback bubbles appearing over the text. These tell you what's happening behind the scenes. Bubbles like these will show you when Elodie's mood is being altered by events. Bubbles like these will show you when the story is changing based on what skills Elodie has learned so far. If the test fails, there is some option being missed because she doesn't have enough points in that skill yet. This feedback is very helpful in figuring out different options to try, but if you don't want to see it, you can turn the bubbles off in the preferences menu. Now, get ready to become a queen! This short tutorial just reminded me of Watt at Beckett's Watt at some point in Watt. There's near the beginning, Watt comes and relieves some other employee, and it says before the employee left, he gave this short soliloquy, and it goes on for like 20 pages, like ramble.
Yep.
Okay, let's see here. My skills.
I want to see one of these classes. I really do.
Okay, all right.
I'll be horrified, but I want to see it.
So expression and animal handling, those are the...
Yeah, let's see. So, my current mood is depressed. I have a bonus to expression and animal handling and a penalty to royal demeanor, conversation, and athletics. So, I should probably learn some animal handling and some expression. Okay.
Expression seems to be highlighted somehow.
Do you have to drag and drop?
Oh, I think it's already been chosen.
Oh,
Done? Hit done?
Yeah. And then you have to pick a class option up the top.
oh, I see. Let's see.
Huh? No class categories, I see. Good lord.
Oh, okay, that's right. So I've got the morning class. I'll do expression and I'll do voice, and then the evening I'll do animal handling, and I guess I'll do.
You do dogs because they'll help her feel better, right? Isn't that what dogs are
Those
for?
seem to be more like hunting dogs, so I don't know that like sicking dogs on wild animals is gonna
Well,
Peasants.
you know,
Might cheer her up.
different strokes.
I guess I was picturing my black lab that curls up next to me in my bed.
Practice deep breathing exercises to build up your ability to sustain it out.
I mean, that should calm her down too.
Yeah. You visit the kennels and learn about different breeds of dogs. Okay. All right.
What's all that noise outside? Who's here? Oh, it's my cousins and my aunt and uncle.
Oh boy.
Darling, and we were so terribly sorry to hear about your mother, Fidelia.
Thank you.
You look well, niece.
Hi, Lottie!
Hi, Lottie. I haven't seen you in ages. Will you be staying long?
Yep, Mommy said we'd be here all month.
Maybe we'll have some time to talk later.
Alright. Now that you've finished studying,
Wait, we finished studying? That was it? Those were the classes? It's just a line of, oh, come on.
Yeah, you're expecting too much. You don't like go to the classes and have like a cutscene. I'm sorry. Okay, so we can do something here, and this gives you perks for certain things. Talk to your father.
Wait, her father's alive?
Yeah,
I guess so.
that's who I was
That's who you were?
voice acting there.
Oh, okay. Alright, so anybody gotta sneak out?
Ooh.
Definitely that.
You want to sneak out?
Sneak
Yeah,
out.
I want to sneak
Ooh,
out.
visit dungeons.
Oh,
No
Okay.
effect from visiting the dungeons.
You sneak out of the castle to have a little fun. You enjoy your freedom, but your father won't like it if he finds out. Okay, let's see. What's my mood now? I'm a little more cheerful. I'm willful. Okay.
I think you're actually less depressed too.
I am a little less depressed, yeah. Oh, I think I was... That's because...
The cousins came to
Yeah,
visit.
the cousin came to visit. Okay. So...
Looks like it's still expression and
Yeah. See, the problem is like if I count too much on that, then I'm not gonna have. Well,
So it's all about changing what you do on the weekend to alter your mood to better.
yeah, it's really complex. Okay.
So, spreadsheets in a castle.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Well, the other, for some reason, like, I don't know if it was this last year or the year before, I was like, I would like to play a JRPG. And so I bought Final Fantasy 13, which is not a great game. But as I was playing through it, I was like, oh, that's right, I remember what Final Fantasy is. It's the game of pretty menus. Like, it's it's like all you do. Okay.
I had started that game several times before where I'm at now, and I talked to a friend. I said, "Yeah, I should be done soon. I'm about 30 hours into it." And he says, "Where are you at?" And I described. He's like, "You're not even a fifth of the way through." I'm like,
Okay, I'm trying to figure out. Athletics is down. I don't want to like get too much. Okay, well, who has some input?
You could do Royal Demeanor. It's only -1, so you're not losing.
Yeah.
And that might be a good thing to have.
So let's do an aura of confidence, the ability to be beautiful and dignified under any circumstances, the ability to bear pain, fear, and surprise without flinching.
Seems like the best choice right now, maybe?
Composure?
Yeah.
Okay. Weapons? You want to do weapons?
Yes, 100%.
Pole arms.
pole arms, absolutely.
This
All right.
musical loop is going to cause all my teeth to fall.
I know that was the other comparison to Final Fantasy.
All right. Let's turn that down. Okay. Okay.
I feel like this would be a good game to have like a background music with.
Yes, that's another thing. This and the Solitaire, I was like, yeah, I can totally like turn the music off and play through this. Oh, I'm too depressed to focus properly on that subject right now. I didn't get much on that. You learn about a variety of long weapons, from the quarterstaff to the spear to the halberd and glaive.
What's that commotion outside? Father, what's going on?
Someone doing Juliana?
I have come to pay my respects in honor of your mother. She has a very deep voice.
You have no respect or honor. It's because of you and your powers that my wife is dead.
Ooh.
This is intriguing.
What?
I am a lumen, as was she, and like every lumen, I am willing to give my life if necessary to protect our domain.
Your line has been traitors for 200 years. I won't have you corrupting my daughter.
That is for the crown princess to decide. Elodie, your mother trusted me, and I have much to teach you.
Ooh, arrest her. Ooh.
You want me to arrest her?
No.
Yes.
You... Come on, group, make a decision.
Okay, arrest her.
Yeah,
Okay.
That seems like a...
That seems fair.
We're gonna get killed.
You are a traitor to the crown, and I ought to have you executed.
I lost a little bit there. Sorry.
Guards, arrest her. Throw her into the castle dungeons and let her rot.
Well, I suppose she won't be a problem anymore.
I feel like you're kind of shocked, like, whoa, I didn't expect that, but okay. Alright.
Go
Well, you
visit
can
her in the
the
dungeons.
now, yeah. See if she wants to hatch a plot.
You venture into the depths of the castle dungeons. The Duchess of Ursula is there, in her cell, sitting perfectly straight on the bench against the wall and looking in your direction as if she'd been expecting you. Caution is wise for a woman in your position. Hasty judgments can lead to trouble. Are you ready to listen now?
No.
Yes.
Taunt her.
Listen to her.
No.
She's in the cell.
Okay,
It'll make you feel
fine.
better.
Okay.
What do you want to say?
It is the responsibility of the King or Queen of Nova to handle magical energies to protect the domain. That is what a lumen does, what your mother did, and what I do.
My father said it was your fault she died.
What he said was that she died by magic. Being a lumen is never safe. We pay a high price for our powers. But without a lumen queen, this entire domain is at risk. Release me, and I will teach you what you need to know to keep your responsibilities.
What was that little floating?
You failed a lore test because we have no training in history, apparently.
Yeah.
So we don't know whether that was bullshit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Well, I hear she's a lumen.
Mm-hmm. Well, what do you guys think?
Free air, let's see what trouble she creates.
Okay.
It's gonna be fun.
I don't have any choice, do I? Fine, I'll have the gods release you.
Come to me in my rooms as soon as you can begin your training. Alright.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Man, that's awful.
She's not doing so great, are we?
No.
Mm-mm.
Let's...
Do we need to do some athletics?
Well, if you want.
Oh, look, we have a...
If you do conversation, I won't have to talk like that anymore.
Okay,
that.
I'll do conversation, and now I want you to change
Wait,
your
I don't
voice.
think we're gonna get any
Yeah,
points for conversation.
Because
Though.
we're at
Yeah, we...
-2.
we're at...
Yes.
Sorry, you're stuck like that. I told you.
Might make sense to do some of the +0. I mean, at least we're getting something.
Yeah. Or we could... What about voice? Could I give you some more voice skills? Would that help you?
Could sing all of your lines.
Alright. I'm only doing this for you, Chris. Okay,
It'll help get rid of the polyps.
See, oh God, just going through there's like this category is so like, oh my God, like the history thing. I don't know.
Maybe Nova in history, so we can know what's going on, or the intrigue,
Should we do the intrigue?
since apparently intrigue has already come into her.
Yeah.
Probably internal affairs then.
Okay.
Yeah.
You learn about different vocal ranges, from the most profound bass to the rare
Coloratura.
coloratura soprano.
I don't know that's how you spell that, but okay. It is.
Until you have children of your own, your maternal uncle, the Duke of Merva, is next in line for the crown, and after him would be his daughter, your cousin Charlotte. Oh, that's good to know. Who's Charlotte? Is that me?
I think it's you, yeah.
He loves me not.
Lottie, do you have a boyfriend?
Practicing.
Not really. I just like to play with the flowers. All of a sudden, the Duchess of Ursel rushes into the garden and points a sword at you. No, not at you. At your feet?
Off with her feet.
Princess, don't move.
Yeah.
Do we respect her enough not to look down?
These are both going to go to the same place, so it doesn't matter.
Composure failed. You want to hold still, but you don't have the composure to hold your position without peeking. You look down where her sword is pointing. There's a snake in the grass. You can't help it. You squeak and jump back. The snake tenses and prepares to strike. No! Your cousin pushes you aside, and the snake's fangs sink into her leg.
Lottie!
Too late. Juliana swings her sword and cuts off the snake's head.
Countess Nix.
What is going on out here? Your daughter's been bitten by a milk viper. They're poisonous. Get an herbalist right away. I will treat my daughter. I certainly can't trust anyone here to keep her safe.
I'm sorry.
I don't feel good. We will be returning home to Merva immediately. Your aunt is a point. Milk vipers are not native to this area. The snake should never have been here. Someone may have tried to kill you.
Assassination.
Will Charlotte be okay?
I don't know.
Well, that was full of incident.
Yes. Take a walk in the gardens. It will calm me down. Walk in the fresh air helps you forget the burdens on your shoulders. Like you being responsible for your cousin's death.
This.
Yeah, but that
these-
takes care of
these
the line of
types games-
succession. Well, partially.
Partially.
What?
The Duke
It
wasn't it the
cleans
Duke
up the
that's
line.
Yeah.
before that?
What were we gonna say?
These games seem too complicated to be a solitary game.
This
Huh.
is like way more fun with
Ju-
people. The voices make me get it. I'm just saying.
Juggling all these, I can't. I mean, personally, I can't stand these types of games where you have all these economies that you have to deal with.
Mhm.
I mean, Fate of the World was another one that's been on the schedule, and it's a lot like this. And I keep going,
So
it's the same type of thing.
Faith in there was another one.
well, the skills, the mystical. Oh yeah, faith. That's right.
We could do conversation now.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
let's do that. Let's a little bit more conversation. Anyway. Yeah.
Public speaking.
God, we need some of that. All right. Well, I suppose
Lore.
we can't get any worse
We
with
got
lore.
dinged on lore.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, the problem is we got dinged on lore, but it doesn't help us to. I mean, it may help us in the future, but it doesn't like retroactively help us, of course.
So now, do these selections, is the adjustment arbitrary? Does it ever feel like it's
What do you mean?
like a lot of these games? I always wonder how objective like you made those choices,
Mhm.
and now the bar has gone up a little bit. Is that a set amount? Is it a stable amount?
Well, I
Can
think
you
about
always-
all the numbers that are going on in the background here, because you've got for each like weekend that you have, you've got a couple different choices, and each choice probably adjusts something or other, a couple points, and then you've got another set of choices that will adjust something else a couple points, and may put something down or put something up. So you've got all these different scales that go up or down that are contingent on all these different plot factors that are also contingent on the skill checks that are granted here. So there's a lot going on, and it's intriguing to sort of think about that from a programmatic standpoint, because it's attempting to simulate a huge set of social circumstances that, from any individual's point of view, seems fairly arbitrary. Like, if you're thinking like, well, how am I doing in my social circle? This is attempting to mathematically simulate that by all these different factors and skill checks. And this is intriguing to me in terms of like it potentially being a system within something like Oblivion or an Elder Scrolls game or something.
Facade. You know Facade? It's
I
an
know.
attempt to do an AI-driven narrative.
Okay.
You play as somebody who comes to a cocktail party, and you have to interact
Oh,
with
yeah.
the people in the cocktail
Mhm.
party, and they have personality models.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's like 15 years old now, so
Yeah,
very
yeah.
primitive. But and I mean, it's not literally live human conversation, but you interact much in
Mhm.
this manner.
Yeah. And so, I mean, to think about grafting this type of thing onto, that's what would be an intriguing RPG to me. I mean, I often feel like Elder Scrolls games are fairly lifeless because there's so much on there that you don't have any sort of deep intrigue or anything
Yeah, but
within
the
that
problem-
system.
The problem is that, yeah, you can have a really complicated, interesting personality model, behavior model, but it's still got to be pretty much a finite state machine, right? I mean,
Mhm.
there are only going to be 15 possible behaviors, maybe, unless you could think about sort of making the behaviors modular so that
Right.
the
Yeah.
final behavior is a combination of these 19 things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and then there's also the question of, like, would you want that to be an invisible system, or do you... I mean, this is not that invisible, although it has the option of being more invisible. That's why, if you remember at the beginning, like, you had the option, you can go in the options menu and turn off the, like, checks to come up. In which case, like, you would have no idea that whatever situation transpired was because you failed, like, an agility test or something.
Yeah, that seems odd. Like, I would not even consider turning it off.
Immersion, maybe,
Yeah.
to some extent. It would be... I mean, I agree, I would not turn it off, but that's because I'm a min-maxer who would like to, like, have the ultimate skill set.
Mm-hmm.
But I can imagine that in some ways that would be how you would adjust the difficulty level of this game, wouldn't it? So...
Yeah, I think
definitely make it harder.
Also, this is not an immersive game. You know, this is a very mediated game.
Yeah, that's true. It's not immersive, but it would be intriguing to try and figure out, like, well, why couldn't I? I mean, you could probably guess, like, well, why did this character feel the need to look at the snake at that point? Like, what happened?
The lore one, we would never have known that there was a test failed there.
Right.
You know, like, I wouldn't have known that we didn't know something.
Yeah, that's just it. I would leave the bubbles on, and honestly, if I was gonna like play this for real at home, I'd probably have Excel up next to it, and I would be actually mapping this out.
Well, that's it. Could you play through this identically over and over again?
Oh, sure. Yeah, you can.
So there's no randomness or procedure.
Not that I know of, no.
Except that I think it'd be really hard to play through if you...
Well, if you
never
made the
remember all the
exact
moves.
same choices, you could play through it
If you
again.
had that Excel sheet, you'd remember what you did.
Exactly.
Well,
which is what I was trying to do, and it is not easy.
Or if you do what the speedrunners do, which is record, and then mechanically feed in the decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Poison test. Her mother said she's okay. I like how we got a poison test failed. Like, she's not okay.
Maybe she has a cardigan angel.
That reminded me of the Futurama Roswell that ends well. Fry kills who he thinks is his grandfather, and he goes and visits other people, and they're like, well, why are you still alive? And he's like, I don't know, maybe God loves me. And Bender's just like, Alright. Okay. It is almost 3. Let's see. Where should we go? What should we do?
That sounds horrible. That sounds horrible.
None of those are good options.
Let's visit Juliana.
So when you get question marks, we don't know what the outcome will be?
Yeah. First, I need to know if you have your mother's crystal.
A lumen crystal?
Yay.
No.
I just want to say I really don't like this girl. Like, I think she's going to stab us in the back, and it's going to be
This
terrible.
Juliana?
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's a misreading of
Okay.
the obvious JRPG science behind it.
The eyebrows?
No, I'm with you just because she's like the mystical one, and she's mistrusted by like the establishment, and it seems like a lot of times like there's that suspicion for an old system that actually turns out to be
The way
imperative to the way the world works. The royal crystal has been passed down from ruler to ruler for generations. It belongs to you now, except that the king may be keeping it from you.
Do you have a crystal?
Of course.
What?
Light flickers above her bosom, and then, with a shower of sparkles, something takes shape. You reach out to touch it, and it dissolves away into nothing. Oh. It belongs to me! No one can take it from me until I die. You need to find the crystal that belongs to you. I know her expression changes, but I like it. Coming back here every time, she's like, "Oh God!" All right. Well, that was too. Oh, man, I forgot how complex this game was. Far more complex than Regency Solitaire. So that was our two games kind of stuffed into one for this week.
So you know another Palace Intrigue game? It's a text game. It's called Varicella. It's
I haven't heard of that one.
You have to I think put someone else on the throne.
Okay.
It's a mistake if you put yourself on the throne,
Yeah.
but it's a parser based inform, infocom type game. And it has a time effect. If you don't reach a certain goal within like 40 moves, you're dead.
Okay.
The war minister arrives with fighter jets and strafes the castle. Everyone is killed
That's dramatic.
and takes over.
And there's, like I said, there's so many ways to die in this game.
Yeah.
Or be deposed, or
But I brought up Varicella because it's also devilishly complex. It's really, if you don't follow the walkthrough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I haven't. There's another game by this same woman, and I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it has more options in terms of like how to complete it. I think like I said, the frustrating thing with this is that if you don't make it through, like there's no other end game than you failing or succeeding, like, which is kind of disappointing in these sort of visual novel games.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what we're going to do next week. Again, I think we were supposed to do Hotline Miami this week.
Yes, but history keeps conspiring against us.
That's the most bizarre realization when we were talking about that. Was it last night or this morning? Like, oh my God, again! It's like a month ago that we.
Right.
I mean,
We need to move to Australia.
The spiders are far too big in Australia.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Gotta watch out for those spiders.
There's spiders as big
Dude,
as dogs in
there are-
Australia.
There's
It's not okay.
seven spider species that'll kill you in Australia.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was staying there once, and my landlady had on her fridge this one, and that one. Oh, especially that one. That's the one that likes to climb into bed with you.
Oh God.
So, I don't know what we're going to do next week. Maybe we'll do Hotline Miami. Maybe we'll do something else. We're really kind of like...
We
Lousy.
just shot that schedule out the window, didn't
We did kind of shoot that schedule out the
return
window.
return to the spreadsheet.
Yes.
I mean, it's on all the calendar invites which game we're supposed to be playing. So
Well, I think
This
it
was
was
supposed
Hyper...
to be Hyper Light Drifter.
Yeah, I thought it was
this week.
Hyper Light
Yeah.
Drifter this
Oh,
week.
was
but-
it?
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
but you said Hotline Miami, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. So maybe we'll try Hyper Light Drifter. But I wasn't sure if you were going to be here, and I feel like you need a controller for that. And I didn't know if you left the controllers here, but you did. So maybe next week we'll do Hyper Light Drifter, which is a beautiful game, very difficult. And we'll see how that goes. So thanks everybody for tuning in, if anybody tuned in, and thanks for the conversation. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.